Hey everyone, and welcome to part 8 of Let's Clone a Pokemon Game. So in this tutorial we're going to be covering collision detection. So we're just going to be checking if our player can move from one tile to another tile. So if another one of these tiles is something that's in our way, such as a tree, a mountain, or anything like that that we don't want the player to walk on, we're going to need to check it each time our player wants to walk. So if our player wants to walk from here to there, then we are going to be using a raycast to check whether this tile is collision or not. So we're pretty much going to be using the same thing as we did before with our raycast that's being sent downwards, but instead of downwards, we're going to be sending it forwards and in every other direction, depending on which direction we're moving. And this way we can tell, whether or not there's an object in the way. So we'll go and jump into our code real quick, and we'll scroll down here. Now, in my previous tutorial, I did a couple more tests, or gameplay tests, and I found that if you walk outside of the map, that you get a crash. And some people might have got that as well. And to fix that, you just want to take the if statement that was outside of here and put it into this if statement. So this will only be called if we actually hit something, and then so if we actually hit something, we can actually compare it to something. So if that is tall grass, then yeah, call our tall grass thing. But if we didn't hit anything, then don't even calculate it. So that'll fix your error since hit was being called as a null and causing a crash. And then what you want to do is copy this code and we'll be pasting it up here in our walk script. Now we're just going to do the W key for now and then we'll worry about the rest later. But for now, you just want to copy and paste that. You want to get rid of the counter that's in there and you want to add the tag for tree or whatever object you're going to be comparing. So in our previous tutorial, we ended up creating a simple tree and we have a box collider on it. And you also want to create a new tag for this. So go to add tag, change the size if you need to, and here's tall grass and I just added tree. Click on it, drop down tree. And do it for each one of those. I didn't do it for these back ones because they don't need it. My player's not going to be able to go back that far, hopefully. And so I left these untagged and with no collision. They're just pretty much for scenic view, and you don't need that taking up any of your performance. So now that we have that set up, jump back into the code. So let's see here. We're also going to need a different variable called disable move. So this is just a boolean that's reset each time we call this. And so if it is set to true, that means our movement is disabled. So if it's a tree that we detect, we will disable the movement. And then we want to change disable move to false. So that's pretty much resetting it. I don't know if it resets automatically. I guess I could test that, but for now we'll just throw that in there. So pretty much once we go through here, we will just change disable move back to what it was. So if this never gets called, it'll call this and it'll move us. And so we'll get back to the raycast real quick. So this time we're going to be using a vector3.forward. Now there's a bunch of different directions you can use, forward, back, left, right, and different stuff like that. So we're going to use forward because it casts a raycast forward. And then we're going to be doing hit and 20. So the reason I chose 20 is because my tiles are 20 by 20 and raycasts are called from the center point, or that's where I have mine being called, from my player. And so from the center point, it goes out 10 and then it's 10 to the next tile in the center. Now it doesn't have to be in the center, but I just like setting it up that way just to make sure that my raycast is always detecting the next tile. And so that's pretty much all you need to tweak that to get it to work. So this disabled move, if it's ever called to true, then it won't call that and our player won't be able to move. And so we can actually go test this out real quick. So if I walk forward, here I can walk through the tree, I can walk down, but if I'm tapping up right now, I can't go through that tree. Go over, tapping up, can't go through that tree, I can go through there, can't go up. So I can go in any other direction except up. Doesn't matter if I hold it down or tap it really fast, it won't let me go up. Do it for this one too, can't go up. It does not rotate our character in that direction though. So maybe that's something that we want to fix actually. I guess we won't worry about that for now too much. We'll change that in the future, but we want to rotate our player to face towards that direction each time. But we don't want to make this tutorial too long. So we'll copy this. And it does seem like a lot of code. Oh, it got kind of messed up. But I bet there's a lot easier ways to just call this raycast once maybe. Maybe someone has a suggestion to make this with less code. But for now, beginner tutorial, it's not going to matter too much. It's not going to kill our performance or anything like that. But yeah, so we're just going to keep everything the same here, except set that to a negative. And this is for going backwards. So we'll save that. Oh, let's see here. Oh yeah, totally forgot that too. So we're going to have to copy this for each one. We'll tab that. And then set disable move equals true. And so on and so forth. So if you want to clone this for the other two, you're just going to use, instead of vector3.forward, or negative vector3.forward, you can use vector3.left or right, or negative vector3 left, or whatever you want. They're all the same. You can pretty much just go through for each one of these, and maybe you guys can figure out yourself trying to set that up. I guess it's a little bit of coding homework, but it should be really easy to set up. So we're going to go do this again. Okay, it might not like that I'm using it more than once. I guess what we could do actually, I guess just to make things simple, we can name this disable move 2. Just to fix that for now. I could probably put the variable outside and do it that way because each one's only being called once. I guess hit 2. That's kind of weird. But I did forget that this is all in the update, so it's going to have to be all different. Well, good thing we're going over this now because people probably would have got confused with this. What is this? There's already a local variable with distance to ground. Okay, so variable distance to ground 2. And hopefully that is the last variable that we need to change. Well, if you get those errors, then that's how you fix them. You just have to rename some of the variables to get it to work correctly. And if you see here, it seems like, oh, I forgot that these trees don't have any tag set on them, so that's why it's not going. But I can't go through that tree, so that's good. Can't go through that one, that one. Okay, so our collision is working perfect. Hopefully you guys can get the other collision set up, or also go over that in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll try hammering out a few more tutorials soon, so stay tuned.